All right, hey, this is Davin with Redline Rebuilds. We're over at Thirlby's with our Buick straight-8. They have went through, completely tore all the freeze plugs and everything out of the block. So it's all stripped down. Block's all completely tore down. So for instance, the cam bearings are pulled out, freeze plugs taken out. I'm glad he did that one because that looked like a pain. Heads, you know, the factory valves are out. We're gonna do something a little different here. This eats up compression, but everything came out. Looks like pretty good shape overall. None of the springs seem to be damaged. Not that we're gonna reuse them, but it's always a good indicator of what kind of life the engine had. So I know in the past when we've been here, we kind of really quickly go over and gloss over what really happens when we bring a block and all the pieces in. So today we're going to talk a little more about it. If a block is really greasy and grimy and just that nasty mess, then first of all they'll put it in basically a big dishwasher, and it actually has Cascade in it, honestly. So it's a big jet wash. It goes in there, kind of gets the base grime and grease off of it. Then from there, it comes into which essentially is an oven. It's on a big roll, and you'll see it in the video, and it tumbles and rolls the part. But mainly what it's doing is it's heating it up and baking that grease off. Kind of like when you self-cleaning oven type of deal. It goes up to about 500 degrees, gets all that grease and grime and dirt and everything that's been collected in the paint, of course, and bakes that off, turns it into basically a powder. From there, it'll come over into this unit. Looks exactly like the oven, but it doesn't have a heating element in it. What it is it's a sandblasting cabinet. It has, so in the cabinet, it utilizes some steel shot, and it's basically sandblasting the part, spraying up at it, not at super high pressure, doesn't really need that. And then as the part is tumbled, of course, it hits all the different surfaces and such. Now, of course, you certainly don't want to take and assemble your engine that's full of shot peen, so you take from this cabinet, comes over to the last cabinet, which is a cool down cabinet, and it also just takes and blows air at it, tumbles it around in different orientations, and tries to work all that shot out. So currently our head is in the blast cabinet, so it's getting cleaned up from that standpoint. The block is one step ahead, and it's in the cool down chamber and getting tumbled. And we got about probably another 10 minutes and our block will be done. We'll take that out, set it up on the table, and magnaflux it. All right, so what Todd's been doing is going through and crack checking this block. So he's utilizing this magnet. It creates a magnetic current through the block, and then uses what looks like a perfume bottle from the old days, and basically just kind of lightly push this powdered iron onto it. And if there is a crack, then what it's going to do is it's going to highlight that crack. It's going to stand up and show where that crack is at. So far, we're not seeing anything. We're looking mainly on the deck surface, and then of course in the bores, just to see if it's cracked through into the jacket. Looking at this right now, I know the pistons were at 40 over. Typically you can get a 60 over piston. I don't see how this will possibly clean up at 60 over total. So I believe we're looking at a lot of sleeves for this block. So during our teardown, if you watch some of that highlight, you'll see that on this freeze plug and this freeze plug, they both had some telltale corrosion, basically leakage coming out of them. What our concern is that potentially the block is cracked around there, and that was the cause of the leak. Here are the two freeze plugs that were in these two holes. Right. And you can see that they were both corroding. Now this one, you can actually see it corroded all the way through. So this one's probably just the fact that the freeze plug itself rotted, and most likely this is going to be the same. Yeah, there's a hole here. So in this case, even though we're going to double check and make sure that the freeze plug board does not have any kind of cracks around it, it appears that these freeze plugs just flat out rotted right in the block to the point where they started to leak, which is better than the block obviously leaking. I know we've been asked in the past, well, why do they even need freeze holes or these holes in the side of the block? Well, the idea behind, they're really twofold, freeze plugs in general, but the holes are on the side of the block, so when the blocks are cast, they're sand cast, and you have to have a water jacket. So how that water jacket is created is you have a core of sand, hard packed sand, that is in there. After the block is cast, obviously you have a hole so you can get the sand back out. Now, these are considered freeze plugs, or called freeze plugs. They pound in, they seal up the block relative to the coolant, but then at the same time, by the name, freeze plugs, if the block freezes, the idea is the water will push these out opposed to cracking the block. Yeah. Now at this point, Todd's going to go through and crack check all the main saddles to make sure that none of those are cracked. These are the areas, the main saddle, an external crack, you know, like into a water jacket, that could be repaired fairly easy depending on where it's at. On the main saddle, you're getting into an area where if you do find a crack there, you're looking for a new block most likely. Whew. Looks like we got a clean bill of health as far as cracks are concerned. But what we're going to show you here real quick on a head that they have that has a crack, just so we can illustrate what it'll look like. So to illustrate the powder as it goes into a crack, this is a head that had been magnaflux, and this is the injector tube, and then into the seat, and you can see that it's cracked in between. Most likely this is an exhaust. So this is not our head, but it's a good illustration of what a crack would look like if there was a crack in the block. Let me get it flipped over. Boom, it's cracked now. We have a clean bill of health on our block relative to cracks. It's cleaned up nice, and now we'll get the professor over here, Mr. Mike, have him tell us how bad the bores are. I have my bet. Let's see how close we are. Does not look so grand. It's got a ton of taper in it, and it is pitted like crazy. Mikey's gonna be laughing at us, thinking that this is gonna clean up at 60, if 60s are available. We very may be looking at 8 sleeves. That's my unprofessional, professional opinion. All right, sir, you gotta show us what the verdict is here, because I'm not so confident. Well, I'm confident we're gonna need a sleeve.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna need sleeves.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as you know, this has been bored over already.
Yeah, the pistons had at least the stamping on all 8 of them that said 40, so 40 over. I didn't drop a gauge in there, but just going off of that.
And definitely those 3 for positive.
My guess was 8 out of 8. He said there's actually 2 that are probably salvageable. So obviously we're just gonna go all 8. Start fresh, standard size bore that way, and we'll be good as new.
Fingers crossed, no cracks, right?
That's right. Uh-oh. It's a light one.
Mats.
It's a light one. I want it right on the ground. All right, so our main parts don't have any cracks. That's a good thing. I gotta go over and get with Joey, figure out where we're gonna get some sleeves and pistons from, and then likewise the valve seats and guides for the head. And until then, we'll be back over here at Thirlby as soon as those parts come in. And I guess at the end of the day, go in the garage, get your work done. Most importantly, go enjoy the ride.